Hey everybody, welcome back. We are still in our new filming spot in our current house. The books are being packed away. So some of the books that we're about to talk about today, they're already packed, so you'll just have to deal with a large floating image instead of me holding up my physical copy. Which, by the way, hi, we're doing another reading recap. So without further ado, let's get to all of the books that I read in the month of June. We're starting out with a library loan that I was able to read book 1 in the series maybe like a month ago, and book 2 came in. I was so excited, and that is Fair Trade by Millie Perez. I gave this book 4.5 stars. You guys all know I am a sports romance girly, started out with hockey, and now we're just dabbling with every sports romance that we can. So this is a dual POV that follows Louisa and Nick, and it is a marriage of convenience trope that, of course, blossoms into true love. Louisa is the general manager of the New York Monarchs, and that's a baseball team, and Nick is the new owner following his grandfather's recent passing. Now, due to something that comes up in his grandfather's will, Nick needs to marry, and Louisa also needs to marry because she needs Nick to stay the owner so that she can still be the general manager and show the world that women belong in this industry too. Now, this is a secret clause. We've seen this before in other marriage of convenience tropes, and you know what? I'm all here for it. It works, it gets me every time, and I love the back and forth that these two characters have, and I'm not going to spoil too much, but there's definitely interest on both sides, and not even like, I hate them so much, and then it's actually just they like them. No, like from the get-go, they're like, oh, dang it, I like the other person. What are we gonna do? So I just noted another thing that I really loved, and I also love this in the first book, but that is the strong female relationships that we get in this series. I love seeing women supporting women, and I love them kind of banding together to, get things done and be that support network that everyone truly needs. At the end, there was a hint at what book 3 is going to be, and currently my library does not have book 3. So I'm going to be on the lookout. And my final thoughts on this is just, if you've read the Vancouver Storm series, and that is a hockey romance, I think that you would like this series as well. The Vancouver Storm boys and their partners would get along really well with the New York Monarchs and their partners. And we are doing back-to-back sports romances. Book 2 of June was Evening the Score by Lexi LaFleur Brown, and I gave this 3.5 stars. This is another second book in a series. It's another hockey romance. It's another dual POV, and this time we are following Olivia and Brody. Now, both of these main characters have ties to hockey already. Both of their fathers played in the NHL. And it's also a secret enemies to lovers, because Brody's father is the reason Olivia's father lost his NHL career because of a dirty hit. And Olivia, our girl, she holds a grudge. She does. We love it. We've all been there, right? She's not going to let Brody come back to her father's team and become the golden child if she can have anything to do with it. I thought this was really well done. I enjoyed the representation that we got in this book, and I really liked that our female main character in this hockey romance not only was heavily invested in hockey, but she also has played hockey herself and is an incredible skater. So if you are a hockey romance fan, I would definitely check out Lexi LaFleur Brown. We are speeding right along as we're trying to do. We're not trying to keep you guys here for hours and hours. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but June was a very short reading month for me. I did not read a lot of books, so this will be a shorter video anyways. If you watched last week's video, you kind of know why we're packing, why I probably didn't read as many books in June, and that is that Matt and I are in the process of moving and all of that chaos. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for a reading recap. And book 3 of that is Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. This book already has a video up on the channel, and it is my vacation book from last month. I went down to Florida, and while I was on a beach for a couple of days, I went ahead and read Swept Away. I did give this 4 stars. I thought it was very well written, it was very funny, and I truly did love this romance story. And if you can read this book sitting on a beach, listening to the ocean, like chef's kiss, no notes, it was wonderful. And if you want more information and a live read and react, go ahead and check out the vacation reading vlog. Quickly, if you're not into that, this is a dual POV romance where a one-night stand turns into a multi-night stand, and let's get together and survive being swept out into the middle of the ocean. And our 4th book of June is a book that was actually a little bit outside of my normal genre. If you've been following for a bit, I've been trying to experiment with things that I wouldn't typically go for and grab, because even though we love the classics and I've just talked about 3 books that I read that were just romance, it's good to explore and open your horizons and try new things. And this book definitely did that. And it's How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates by Shailee Thompson. I gave this 3 stars. And honestly, if you're a fan of horror, I think you would rate this so much higher than I did. This book perfectly blends, maybe not perfectly. This book blends romance and horror, puts it all together, and we get Jamie, who goes to a speed dating event with her bestie, and then it turns into a slasher film, complete with blacked out lights, and then I'm coming back on and someone's been murdered, and through a series of events, you can't get out of the building that you're in. And all in all, I did enjoy it. It was a good read. It definitely leaned more horror than I typically like, not gonna lie. But I thought it was very funny, and I thought the humor in it balanced out the slasher horror elements pretty well. I will say, I think maybe surprisingly, there was a spice book, and I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't suspend my disbelief enough that in the middle of murder and chaos and everything that's going on, and you're not entirely sure if the person you're interested in is a victim like yourself or maybe the killer, I couldn't suspend my disbelief. So that kind of took me out of the book for a second, but not like completely out of the book. I just kind of went to myself, I'm like, 1, you're locked in a closet with someone who might be a killer, and this is when you decide to get freaky. And 2, everyone knows that if you get freaky in a horror movie, don't you normally die? I'm asking this because I don't watch horror movies. I watch 1 horror movie a year with Matt, with all of the lights on in the middle of the day. And even then, it's just not for me, typically. And I think Jamie even notes, she's like, what am I doing? Everyone knows that, like, you die if you have sex in a horror movie. But yeah, I think it was resolved well. I enjoyed the twists. if you are a fan of horror and you like romance, or even the other way around, I think you would enjoy this. Brandy, you would not enjoy this because there is a spicy scene, but I think you might enjoy it if you just skip past that. Our fifth book is It Seemed Like a Good Idea by Lauren Blakely, and I rated this 3 stars. I ended up buying this book while on vacation because I only packed 1 book. Don't know what I was thinking, but I only packed Swept Away, and I, of course, needed a book to read. It's also not here with me because it is already packed. This is a dual POV romance. We did a lot of romance in June, and we're going to continue to do a lot of romance. This is a dual POV romance between Ripley and Banks, where it's very Hallmark movie kind of feeling. It's like lighthearted if you just need a good romance, a little bit smutty book to read. I think this is a good one. It's a nice lighthearted summer read. We have Ripley, whose twin sister is an up-and-coming Hollywood actress and has just signed a movie deal that takes place in their hometown. Banks is a security guard, and his company, which he's a part owner of, have been hired to provide the security for this movie. In this case, Ripley needs a security guard because her twin is the lead, and, well, they can be confused as each other. Ripley does not want a bodyguard. She's like, I don't need it. My sister is the star. I'm just out here working on my lavender farm. But through a series of events, she does realize that not only does she need Banks, but this growing attraction between them is not going to fizzle out. And sometimes, even though everything is pointing to a relationship not being the right time or not being the right move, when it's true love, what can you do? Our fourth book is another physical book that I have, and that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Now, I know if you are a part of the book community, I'm sure you have heard about Red Queen. And I'm not going to talk about any of the controversy in there. We know that Red Queen came out first. It is irrefutable. And I liked Victoria Aveyard's other series that I read, so I decided to give this one a try. And I ended up giving it 4 stars. This is a YA fantasy where we follow Mare, who is a red queen. And she discovers that even though she is a red, she has a gift that typically only silvers have. Now, I could give you an entire video explaining Red Queen. And if you want that, let me know, because we could make that happen. But basically, in this world, there are 2 types of humans. Humans with red blood that are basically your normal humans, what we are, and humans with silver blood who have these like magical powers. Of course, the people with magical powers are in charge, and let's be real, take advantage of the people without magical powers. But when Mare is working in the castle, it's discovered that she can control and like produce lightning. They can't really have, and by they, the royals and the nobility can't have this red walking around with an ability. So they do the only thing that makes sense, and that is make her a long-lost princess and tell everyone that she's actually a silver. Now, this is also where it gets even more crazy. There's a love triangle between Mare, honestly, kind of like both of the princes. And if we want to get really into it, even her friend back in the village that she grew up in, would that be a love square? Maybe. And this is book 1 of what I believe is a 5-book series. So this book does a lot of the world building. Mare discovers kind of the extent of what is going on in the world, and we also see through her eyes that there's a rebellion starting to occur. This was giving kind of like some Hunger Games-y vibes at times, and I think that's just the era that we were in when this is being written. All I can say is right at the end, there is a twist that wrecked me, absolutely wrecked me. I read it, I texted my friend Victoria, not the author, and I was like, I can't believe this happened. Was there some foreshadowing? Yes, of course. But like any good twist, there are crumbs, and maybe you guessed it just a little bit before, but when the reveal happens, you're not caught off guard, like, oh, I don't even know how this happened. But that knife twist of, oh, I can see all the work you did to set this up, but I truly believed something else was going to happen. So well done. So well done. Now, I was really hoping to get more LGBTQ books read in the month of June. Unfortunately, my life got sidelined, and some of the books that I planned to read either started happening in July, or I had to return my loan from the library and get them back at a later date. One I did get to read, though, was Game Changer by Rachel Reid. This was another 4-star book for me. If you have watched the phenomenon that is heated rivalry, you know that this is Scott and Kip's book. And when I say this is just the most adorable romance, the yearning, the wanting to be together but having to not be because of perceived societal standards, and honestly, not even perceived societal standards, like it is just what society expects of hockey players, of men who look like this. Rachel did such an amazing job writing this book. This is literally, I know I said it already, but one of the most adorable love stories ever. And I normally use that word when I'm talking about a YA romance where everything kind of fades to black and I'm giddy and kicking my feet because they're teenagers in love and all the things. And I got that through a traditional adult romance. It was so cute. So Scott is a professional hockey player, and Kip is figuring out his life, as aren't we all, after you graduate, trying to decide what to do. And while he's trying to decide this, he's working at a smoothie bar where his meet cute happens. If you're a hockey romance fan, please give Game Changer a shot. There's a whole series of cute romances to go, and I can't wait for book 2. Our penultimate book of June is How to Succeed in Witchcraft by Aislinn Brophy. I'm gonna need to learn how to pronounce their name because this is a 5-star read for me. I briefly talked about it last week in my mid-year freakout tag. This book is everything that I want in a YA magical romance. It has so many nostalgic pulls for me, which is kind of odd to say because this isn't a book that I read when I was growing up, but it had all of the things I yearned for. It had such an interesting magic system, and we learned so much about the magic system. We got a whole play or musical, I think, that is based in this magical world, and we got some lyrics from songs. There are almost no words, or maybe there's too many words to describe how much I thoroughly enjoyed this novel. And the author did all of this in one novel, not even a series, one novel. They completed world building without feeling rushed. They made you feel secure in what our characters were going through. No, I'm honestly like no notes. Like, we love to see it. But what is this book about besides me just ranting and raving how much I love these characters and this world? This is technically a YA romance. I would say if you have someone who is reading YA, this is definitely on the older end. I don't think I'd be comfortable letting someone not in high school read this, but that is up to your discretion. We are following Shay during her junior year at Magical High School, and she is working hard to win a scholarship that will basically give her a full ride to any accredited witch university she wants to go to. Now, to throw in some very heavy and realistic topics, Shay is faced with, honestly, lingering racism from this world and how most people of minority descent don't really get into accredited universities, which impact their career. She's also facing some discrimination for being LGBTQ. And throughout this novel, I thought the author is handling some very heavy topics, but in a way that it's not too much. Like, I truly believe a high schooler reading this would learn so much. Shay learns about herself. She learns that relationships, both with your family, with your friends, romantic relationships, sometimes they're more important than this perceived goal or what you've set for yourself. And we do get a very cute love story that Shay thinks is enemies to lovers and her love interest thinks is friends to lovers. Very cute. There were definitely moments where I just went, Shay, of course she likes you. Of course she likes you. She has such a strong sense of self and wants to be a good person and wants the absolute best, not only for herself, but so she can spread that to her family. And I think that's really great. I think it's wonderful to see also such a strong, supportive family. Shay has parents who are proud of her, who will go to bat for her, who make her feel secure in talking to them about anything and who support her for who she is. Shay's mom is a mama bear, and you come for her daughter, she'll come right back for you 10 times over. I will say, as a content warning, there is a bad teacher at this high school. This is the villain character. This is who you're rooting against. And as a reader, and as an adult reader, you can see all of the warning signs, but then putting yourself in a teenager's position, I could see at least how a teenager might not see those same warning signs. And I just want everyone to know that there is a character that misuses their position and position of authority over teenagers, specifically teenage girls. But at the end of the day, the story is not about this bad teacher. The story is about Shay and what she decides to do. So I could not recommend this book more. Please go read this book. This is going to probably go on my Christmas list if I don't just buy it for myself sooner than Christmas, because I really enjoyed it and I want to be able to have a physical copy that I can then loan to other people. And last but certainly not least is A Lady's Guide to Etiquette and Murder by Dianne Freeman. By Dianne Freeman. And I gave this 4.5 stars. I have had this book for almost a year now. I got it last year at the Columbus Book Festival, which I will be going to, and I'm planning to put a video out about that. It probably will be a short one, but just in case you can't make it to the Columbus Book Festival, you can live vicariously through me. I actually, let me flip to it, even got it signed, which just makes me so happy. I don't think Dianne is going to be back at the book festival this year, which I'm pretty sad about because I totally would have bought the rest of the series and got it signed. To be fair, I probably will still buy the rest of the series because this is the perfect mix of like Downton Abbey, murder mystery, all rolled up into one excellent novel. We are following Frances, and she is an American-born heiress. If you're thinking about Downton Abbey, you're thinking like Cora vibes. Unlike Downton Abbey, she is coming out of mourning from her late husband who died about a year ago. And she's taking her life into her own hands. She is now almost free to do what she wants. She is in a position where she has money and can do this. But a wrinkle gets thrown in when the death of her husband is being called into question. A year ago, everyone thought it was from natural causes. He had a known heart condition. But now, the police are looking into this again, and they're wondering if he was murdered. To add even more chaos to poor Frances, her younger sister, who is an American heiress in her own right, is coming over for her first season, and Frances is supposed to sponsor her. Throw in a dashing neighbor who may have helped her on the night that her husband was murdered, who is also the brother of her very best friend in the world, and you get this absolutely stunning novel. Did I already say that it was 4.5 stars? I think so, but if not, now you know. And I will definitely be continuing this series. And there you have it. Those are the 9 books that I was able to finish in the month of June. I have another book that I've been reading, I think for 3 weeks now, that will hopefully come up in July's reading recap. But until then, just thank you all so much for making it to this point. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and if you have any books similar to these books that you think I would like, or if you have any other suggestions. Until next week, bye.